Welcome to another episode of the Aaaction podcast. We are on episode 7, and our main film today that we'll be reviewing is Lightyear, hence this amazing costume I have.
Beautiful. It's gorgeous.
Yeah. The zoom effects here are altering the appearance of it. I also have this shiny new Buzz Lightyear, which you also can't see. This is awesome. There we go. So Buzz Lightyear made it here.
Does he talk?
Yeah, we've got our first episode crossing 1,000, which was 1,000 views, which is our Jurassic Park episode. So if you haven't seen that, go ahead and click below to watch that one. And subscribers are growing, and yeah, guys, just keep liking, subscribe. Hopefully you like what we're doing. We have another one. The one before this, Toy Story, just dropped. So you'll be seeing that. You probably already seen that one by the time you'll watch this one. And that one went very well. And we've got more coming up. We've got Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark coming out next week, and then we'll be reviewing Elvis and the Black Phone, or Phone Booth, I think it's the Black Phone, I think is what it's
Black Phone
with Ethan Hawke.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that one.
Fan favorite. There's a couple of streaming ones too. I don't know them off the top of my head because they're streaming ones are hard to find. I don't know if you've had that same issue, Pete, but
it's not an issue for me.
I can't. No, I'm saying like to figure out which upcoming streaming ones are coming out. It's a little more difficult than like theater films, but yeah, Pete. Well, let's hop in. So the other we'll also be reviewing today Spiderhead, which just came out on Netflix, starring Chris Hemsworth and Miles Teller, yes. Directed by the same director as Top Gun Maverick, Joseph Kosinski. And then I was able to sneak in before this podcast, Cha-Cha Real Smooth, which just got released on Apple Plus. It won Sundance, the jury award, and I was able to sneak that in. So I'll be able to give you a review on that one as well. So with first, Pete, let's go to the latest movie news. Take it away.
All right. Top Gun Maverick, Paul's favorite film of all time, just passed the $800 million mark in the worldwide box office, outgrossing Mission Impossible 6 and making it Tom Cruise's highest grossing project ever. I know Paul's excited about that. I'm excited about it too. I'm happy about it.
I am. I'm probably going to see it again this weekend.
Add more to that total.
And yeah, I know friends that are seeing it, going to be seeing it soon as well. So, if you haven't seen it already, get on the train. There's only one little caboose that's very far in the back that with a couple people on it that don't love it. But besides that, most of the world likes this film. So definitely check it out if you haven't seen it yet. And then also check out our review on Top Gun Maverick. You can click below for that one. And then also we do the original Top Gun, which is our first episode, and hopefully you see some growth with us, because we're growing, Pete.
We're growing. Finally.
And, yeah, we do the original as well. And that one was fun. That was with Jake and Peter Bush. Before I forget, Pete, we do have to do a little bit of a retraction. We called out our friend Jake Fensky that he did not like Rudy.
Right.
We did our homework and realized that is not true. Jake does love Rudy. It's Peter Bush that does not love Rudy. So right. We want to personally apologize. An action our first action podcast apology. Our first action podcast apology to Jake Fensky. Congratulations, Jake. We apologize for.
Sorry, Jake. Sorry, buddy.
We love you. And then we also want to apologize for our sports lists, because somehow my brother and I both forgot Rocky. Pete, would Rocky have made your sports list, or did you?
No, I had it. I had it on my honorable mentions, but no.
Yeah, I completely. Yeah,
I will not apologize for any of my lists.
I completely forgot Rocky, and Rocky is probably. I would actually probably put it number 1 over Rudy. Rocky would go all the way to the top, and I would drop Hustle. Hustle's not there yet. Maybe after several more viewings, I would move it up there. It's a great film. Definitely honorable mention, but Rocky is the greatest sports film and franchise of all time. So my B on that one, guys. Got to get those corrections in. Go ahead, Pete.
Moving forward, we got a first look at the upcoming Marilyn Monroe biopic, Blonde, starring Ana de Armas. This film will boldly reimagine the life of one of Hollywood's most enduring icons, Marilyn Monroe, from her volatile childhood as Norma Jean through her rise to stardom and romantic entanglements.
Which were known to be aplenty.
Yes. A lot of famous folks, some presidential. And it's interesting that it's getting an NC-17 rating, even though it's being released on a streaming platform. Like, I understand the rating system used to be for theatrical, like, hey, it's NC-17, so that means nobody under 17 is going to be able to go into this theater. But if it's on Netflix and some kid gets on Netflix, can't they see this movie? I mean, it's just a weird.
Well, you'll have parental controls, so
everybody does parental controls, though.
Huh?
Not everybody does parental controls.
Well, that would obviously be up to the parents to control your streaming services. I mean, the options are there, so I personally don't have an issue. You just gotta.
I'm looking forward to this film. Like, I don't really know a lot of her like movies and her acting and stuff like that, but because she's such an iconic character in our country's history, I'm really interested to see what they do. And Ana de Armas is she looks just like her. It's crazy.
Yeah, I'm worried about the accent. She didn't talk a whole lot in this one. I mean, that would be my only concern. I'm assuming she was able to get rid of it. She is a great actress. So I'm not, I guess even though it's a concern, I guess I'm not too concerned, because I do believe that there's no way she would have been casted if she had a strong accent. I'm going to believe that she did all the homework and all the work and can do an American accent.
I'm sure she's going to do.
But I looked at it this morning, and it looks fantastic. It's is it some of the scenes, or was it all the scenes in black and white? But I think it was half, right? Wasn't it?
Half.
Yeah. But the scenes in black and white looked absolutely gorgeous. And the director, Andrew Dominic, if you have the most famous thing I've seen him do is the assassination of Jesse James by the coward Robert something. Right. And that stars Brad Pitt. And the opening sequence, you don't have to watch this whole film, watch the opening sequence of that film, and you're going to see a mastery of filmmaking and with the visuals and the music and the cinematography. Like, it's just so good. It's one of my favorite openings of a film, and you just immediately get right into it. And the film itself is solid. I think it gets a little long in places, but there's some greatness in that film. And Andrew Dominic, like I said, already in the trailer, I can see some great looking sequences. And if it's anything like Jesse James film, I'll be super excited about this. So
also, Disney is going to do a live action version of Hercules, an adaptation of that. And they finally found their director, same guy that did the live action Aladdin, which is Guy Ritchie, who's very famous for Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels, Snatch, and of course, Sherlock Holmes. The producers of this will be the Russo brothers, as you know them from the Captain America and the Avenger, Infinity War, and Endgame movies.
Yeah.
As well as You, Me, and Dupree, which is very underrated box office smash. I'm looking forward to this. I wasn't a big fan of the Hercules animated movie. I never really got into it, but I mean, you combine all these great people to make a live action film. It's going to be incredible.
Yeah, I think my question is, so obviously The Rock did a Hercules film, right? Several years ago, like one of his first action films.
Maybe.
I forget. He did. It's not a question. I know he did.
Then don't ask me a question.
That was okay, and that might be a strong statement there. What I'm maybe not so optimistic in this film is Guy Ritchie, he could be good. He's very stylistic, so that could work. The Russo brothers obviously have a pretty good track record at this point. But what are they doing? Or is it a remake of the animation film, or are they doing the actual, like, is this an adult film or is this a kid?
Well, from what I understand, it's not going to be a scene by scene remake of the animated film. I think they're going to use that as a base, but then put their own kind of twists on the actual story and how it's told. That's my understanding.
Got it. So it's definitely going to be more adult oriented, because that's what makes it weird, because it's like, so typically some of these other remakes, like let's just use Beauty and the Beast, for example, right? There is the original tale of Beauty and the Beast, and then obviously it gets Disneyfied and made into an animation film, and then they're remaking the live action based off of the Disney animated version, not the original story of Beauty and the Beast, right?
Yep.
With this one, because Hercules is a myth and already has like its own storyline, then it gets Disneyfied, made that into an animation film. But then to go back to live action, Hercules just seems like a different type of tale than the other kind of, whether it's Aladdin, whether it's like, I don't know. I'm just super curious on the tonality.
Gut tells me it'll adhere more to the Disney version of the Hercules myth.
Yeah. This Guy Ritchie, I guess, is kind of, but he did Aladdin though, right? The new one?
Did Aladdin. So that was great.
Yeah.
Sherlock Holmes was great.
Yeah.
So just a little side note here. There's a small documentary coming out that I had a small hand in. It's called Turn Every Page: The Adventures of Robert Caro and Robert Gottlieb. I love documentaries. I can watch documentaries all day. I always feel like I'm smarter, and I can go and talk to like really smart people after I watch them and pretend like I'm cool. Yeah. But this is one of those sort of documentaries that is very informative and very intellectual. Robert Caro is the author of The Power Broker, which was a book about how this guy, Robert Moses, how he basically built New York or shaped it. And then he also had a series of biographies on Lyndon Johnson. He's got 4. The 5th one's supposed to be coming out. And his longtime partner editor named Robert Gottlieb, they are so combative, but they've been with each other for like 80 years or something crazy. So the big question is, are they going to be able to put out this 5th volume of Lyndon Johnson before either one of them sort of passes on? And Robert Gottlieb, the editor, his daughter directed this film, whom I've met, and she's really great. And I was happy to be a part of this documentary. It premiered at Tribeca recently.
TI, by the way.
Yeah, and then it just got sold. I'm not going to really say who it's been sold to. I'm not sure if that's public knowledge yet, but we're really excited. I'm happy for her. I'm happy for the team, and check it out when it comes out. Turn Every Page.
Awesome. Well,
lastly, in news and notes, thanks.
An Action podcast. Congratulations.
Sandra Bullock is taking a break from acting, ladies and gentlemen. The duration of this, unknown. So we don't know when we're going to see her next. I'm not really sure the reasoning behind it, but that brings us to our first list of
before we get to the list, from what I read is she's literally just exhausted. She's been, working on a lot of different things, and
join the club.
I think she just literally needs a break from it, and she'll probably. I've listened to a couple interviews with her. She was on I want to say Smartless podcast, and I think she talked about wanting to do some other things as well. Because she's obviously got a nice career. Doesn't necessarily need to do much more for her to cement her legacy. So I expect her to probably dabble in some different arenas for a little bit, and then who knows, reevaluate herself in probably 2 to 5 years at the minimum. So we'll see.
She wants her time.
She wants some her time. Yeah.
She's worth $1 billion. She's allowed.
Yeah.
So let's do our top 5 Sandra Bullock movies. This was a little bit tougher than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, I had to knock a couple off that I wanted to include but did not.
Yeah. My first, you first.
I'll go first.
Okay.
Okay. My number 5 best Sandra Bullock film is probably the film that started all for her, and she was sneaky good in it. And this, she had such a different quirky personality, and she kind of jumped off the screen, and this was another vehicle for two bigger stars at the time, but she came in and crushed it. And this is none other than Demolition Man, a very, very sneaky and clever film. The place where Taco Bell is the best restaurant in the world. And so one of my favorite films. So Demolition Man, number 5. Number 4 is a newer film of hers. It was released on Netflix, was Netflix's number 1 film, and that was Bird Box. And that was shot in our own hometown of Monrovia. M-Town representing. Bird Box, she was really good in. Very entertaining film. And again, kind of a different role for her, a little more serious. And she was really good in that. Number 3 is also a very serious film of her. And I want to say a lot of you guys probably haven't seen it. And I encourage you all to see this film. It takes place during the events of 9/11. And it's about, is it an autistic child, I believe, that is dealing with the loss of his dad who died at 9/11, and Sandra Bullock's the mother in that, and it's extremely loud and incredibly close. The music is some of the best score you'll hear. It's from Alexander Desplat, and
who did the Harry Potter movies?
Yeah, he did the later ones. Yeah, right. But this is one of the first films I think I've heard his score, and it completely engulfs you into the film. It is a very captivating soundtrack. I listen to it, almost daily, because it's just so good, and it helps just create this type of emotion and response to it. So
I haven't seen that, but I'll watch it.
Check it. I believe we own it.
It seems whenever I get to it, because it's in every list that I have to watch stuff, and whenever I'm about to watch it, I'm like, man, 9/11. Do I really want to watch a movie about 9/11? It's like, it's heavy subject matter. And
it is, but it's really good.
I can watch Crimes of the Future. I guess I can watch that.
Yeah, it's so well done, Pete, that I think you get through it, and it's a really good film. I don't think it's a perfect film, but it's captivating for a large portion of it. So I highly recommend. My number 2 film is probably the film that made her a star, and that was Speed. And that was her and Keanu Reeves, if you haven't checked that one out. And then my number 1 film is the one I feel like you have to put it, and it's Miss Congeniality. This is kind of the film that's her wheelhouse. That's literally the film she's most known for, is Miss Congeniality.
Wow.
What do you mean, wow?
Okay.
That's literally like that's her best film of all time.
Okay.
And they made a sequel out of it, which kind of proves the point.
No, it's
I'm not saying Miss Congeniality is my favorite film. I'm just saying, like, that's her. That's what she's most known for. So I had to put that in. I mean, again, there's some honorable mentions that we'll all say at the end of this, but obviously there's films I left off. But
well, here's my list. I left off the one that she actually won an Oscar for, because I never saw it, which was The Blind Side. So I don't. It might be good. I don't know. I haven't seen it.
It's funny because I love the story. I knew the original story before it even came out, so I was very familiar with it. I thought she was great in it, acting wise. The movie I'm not in love with. I don't think it's a bad movie. I just thought it was a very okay film. But I think, especially when it comes to sports films and football films in general, like, I'm highly critical of how the football looks. And I don't remember off the top of my head, but I don't remember the football being excellent in that film. I remember it being substandard when it comes to football quality. So I think that's what kind of hits it off the list for me. But she obviously was great in it, won the Oscar for it. But not better than she was in Demolition Man, Pete. I'll tell you that much.
No. Definitely not. I left The Time to Kill off because she was such a small role.
Same, but she was great.
It was a killer movie. She was good in it.
Yeah.
I left Ocean's 8 off because, again, I mean, it was fine, but I didn't think it was one of her better performances.
Well, I think the movie itself limits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So number 5 for me, it's the same as you, Paul. It's the first time I saw Sandra Bullock, and it's Demolition Man. I mean, it was perfect. Number 4 for me also was Bird Box. It was a different kind of role for her. It was a different kind of movie for her to be a part of. And so I put that at number 4. I put number 3 as Speed.
Well, I mean, we're pretty,
because it became almost like iconic in a way where it almost became mimicked and played into like different other like TV shows and conversations. They always talked about Speed, and it was a big movie at the time.
Yeah.
I put Miss Congeniality at number 2 because it was.
Then why are you giving me so much?
Was so iconic, and that's what really kind of put her on the map. But her number 1 film is Gravity, 100% Gravity. That's her performing
Gravity, but
virtually by herself and killing it.
I didn't like the film that much, so I think maybe that's why.
It was her best role. It's her best performance. My list is perfect. Thank you.
I mean, yeah, I mean, I could understand why, because like you're saying, she's by herself. I think the Gravity film itself was, like I said, it was. I wanted to like it more than I did. I don't remember why I didn't like it so much.
Oh man, it was so suspenseful. Like anything space where
I don't think I liked where the story went. I don't know. There was something that bothered me about it. I forgot, but I agree with you. She's excellent in it. The end music is really good in it. Might have been, maybe it was George Clooney. Like I don't know. I'll have to watch it again. I'll have to watch it again
too. I loved him in it too. He was funny, and he was basically her voice, No,
I get it. I get it, Pete. Thank you. I understand the film. It just, like I said,
let me break down Gravity for you, Paul. Here's this.
I think it was expectations versus reality. I think I just thought it was going to be a different film.
Did you see it in the theater?
Yeah, I saw it in the theater, and I own it.
Theater, especially in the theater, it was so suspenseful. Like
I actually own it, which makes it probably even worse.
Anytime you're watching like a space movie and like there's like this idea that you're going to get propelled out into infinite space and like end up suffocating and dying, it's like it was so suspenseful, and the camera work and the visuals were just gorgeous. They were stunning.
So yeah, basically our lists are pretty similar. The exception is Extremely Loud and Incredibly Close and Gravity. Those are the 2 ones where we differ. I'll be honest. I think the crowd will probably go with yours versus mine, only because my film's more sneaky good. And as more of a film connoisseur that I am, we see the films that people don't always see, and so I think that's where. But your film,
thank you.
You probably will win it just because of Gravity. I honestly forgot about Gravity, but I don't know if I would have put it either way.
Well, can't wait to
hear everybody else's. The other film that I liked about her, other honorable mention is the one with her and Ryan Reynolds. I think it's called The Proposal. But I like that one. That was a good film. And then her new film, actually, I thought she was really good in The Lost City. I laughed out loud in the theater several times in that.
You LOL'd?
Huh?
You LOL?
Yeah. I raffled. I raffled a couple times.
Oh man, but I should have put it as my number 5, Hope Floats with Harry Connick Jr. because that was gorgeous.
I gotta watch that one. I gotta watch that one again. I was really young when I saw that one. So
yeah, it's cute. Whatever.
Well, I like Harry Connick Jr. too.
Yeah, me too. I love Harry.
Yeah.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for our most uninteresting titled segment. Excited, not interested.
Obviously, none of us have put any work into approving the title of this segment.
I know. Too busy watching films, man.
I know. I was up till 3 a.m. last night, Pete, watching Cha-Cha Real Smooth. So if I'm a little tired this morning, guys, that's because your boy was doing his homework last night.
Yeah, you're
in the overtime.
They call it cramming before the test.
It just came out yesterday.
Yeah. So maybe get some sleep and watch it today.
Well, we're shooting the podcast in the morning. I didn't have time.
Yeah. So we have 2 films to talk about for this one, and let me know if you're excited or not interested. I have a sneaking suspicion that you're going to be as pumped as I am about both of these. The first one is The Black Phone, is starring Ethan Hawke.
Yeah.
And just the posters alone look frightening. And I saw the trailer the other day, and it looks really, really suspenseful. The basic.
Whoa. So, what? Okay. When I first said that was upcoming, you're like, I don't know, blah, blah, blah. So now
when
you
did
actually
I say that?
A couple podcasts ago. I mentioned that we were going to watch it, and you were like all less than enthused. And I'm like, dude, it's Ethan Hawke. And I don't think you heard about the film yet.
Maybe not, because I'm pumped about this film.
Yeah, I'm saying you did not have that reaction when I mentioned it before. But again, I don't think you knew of the film.
You might be confusing my reaction to Crimes of the Future, probably.
No. You were probably more excited about Crimes of the Future than you were this film.
Yeah, I don't recall that. You may be right, but I don't recall that.
It would have been like probably the second podcast, I want to say, the Top Gun Maverick one that we did. I think that's when we mentioned Black Phone is on the upcoming films.
Possibly.
Yeah.
So this movie is about a little boy, 13-year-old boy, Finney Shaw, who's very shy but clever, who's being held in a soundproof basement by a sadistic masked killer played by Ethan Hawke. When a disconnected phone on the wall starts to ring, he soon discovers that he can hear the voices of the murderer's previous victims, and they are dead set on making sure that what happened to them doesn't happen to Finney, our little Finney. Sounds exciting. I just read a quote this morning that Stephen King has compared this film to Stand By Me, but in hell, which is kind of an interesting quote. It's
especially because I'm such a Stand By Me fan. So
huge Stand By Me fan.
I mean, you won me at hello with that statement.
In hell. It's like, wow. Like, just add this thing to the end of it. So yeah, I'm excited about that. Can't wait for that to come out. Should be coming out shortly.
Comes out next week. We're gonna be reviewing that next week.
Oh, well, hot damn.
Yeah.
The other one is interesting because
I'll be watching that next Friday because I'm watching Elvis on Thursday, and I'll probably go catch the early showing of the phone booth.
Yeah, I'll hit both of those too.
The Black Phone. Sorry, I keep calling it the phone booth. That's the who's in that one?
The Black Phone Booth.
No, who's
Colin Farrell.
Colin Farrell. Yeah. That movie was pretty rough.
Yeah.
It's the shortest film ever. That's like 80 minutes.
The smallest space imaginable and stick one person into it and then just make a movie out of it.
Yeah.
Brilliant. This next film is incredibly exciting. You don't know anything really about it, which makes it even more intriguing. A little scary, but very intriguing. And it's Guns 3, alias Billy the Kid. This is going to be the 3rd installment of the Young Guns movie. Can we call it a franchise at this point, man, with 3? Or
it'll be a trilogy. It'll be a trilogy. Yeah.
Thank you. This is going to be directed and starring Emilio Estevez, who plays Billy the Kid, William H. Bonney. Also signed on from the previous films is Christian Slater, as well as Lou Diamond Phillips. Yeah. Like I said, the plot is being kept really, really heavily under wraps, so nobody really knows what it's about. But can we anticipate other big names from those films coming back? Like, are we going to see Kiefer? Are we going to get some Kiefer?
No, because Kiefer's dead.
Well, that's right. He died.
And the other characters die like at the end, but not like necessarily in the movie. Like it's later on.
Alan
Ruck could theoretically make a appearance in this.
Yeah, but Chavez dies and he's in this.
He dies. This might take place. No, I guess you're right.
But if it takes place, if it's like an earlier version. Okay, so here's what I loved about number 2, Young Guns 2, is that they took a character called Brushy Bill
Roberts,
Brushy Bill Roberts, who claimed that he was Billy the Kid, and they used that as like the starting point, and then expanded out to tell an amazing story, because Young Guns 2 is awesome.
Yeah.
So I'm really interested to see what they are going to do with this 3rd one. Are they going to take another maybe some sort of a myth or something and then try to expound on it like they did with the other ones?
Yeah, I mean, that's obviously what you would have to do if you're keeping the original cast in. And the little that I've heard is it might explore the final night with Billy the Kid. Peterson. That's who
William Peterson.
William Peterson could possibly be in it. He's great. Wait, is he still alive?
I think so.
Yeah,
he's still doing like CSIs, I think.
Yeah. You're right. He was fantastic in the first one or second one. I mean, Young Guns 2 is probably one of my favorite movies of all time.
One of my favorite.
Yeah, I mean, I watch that multiple times a year. I actually went to New Mexico and went to Lincoln and was in the courthouse, where Billy Kid escaped, and the Tunstall store, and the Murphy store as well, which is the courthouse as well. I've been there. It's fantastic. I love Billy the Kid. There's an episodic that I'm working on. It's on the back burner right now, but we'll eventually be getting to that. And so I'm all in on this one.
All in. Super
excited. And I trust Emilio Estevez in terms of, I don't think they would ruin a legacy if they're not going to make it great. And
no,
Young Guns 2 is so much better than Young Guns 1, just like the quality of it. And I think, again, Emilio Estevez is actually a really good director, and I think he's going to do fantastic in this.
Yeah, I think it's the same reason why, I'm not comparing Emilio Estevez to Tom Cruise by any stretch, but like Tom Cruise being attached to like Mission Impossible, he wouldn't put out a bad Mission Impossible. He wouldn't allow it to happen in the same way that I think Emilio Estevez is not going to put out a really garbage third movie. I mean, why would he? I mean, he's really taken...
There'd be no point to even coming out with this. Like, it has to be good. You have to have a great story, like we've said with all this stuff. And I just assume that they're like, we could do this again. We have this story. And these guys, I mean, Christian Slater's not a super heavy working actor, if at all. So again, for both these guys to come out of the woodwork to do this again.
Well, he was on Mr. Robot and did really well and was really good in it. And it was a great sort of comeback, I guess.
Yeah.
I think he may have even won some awards for his performance in Mr. Robot. So yeah. I'm just hoping to get a little bit more John Bon Jovi,
Yeah, right. Oh, that would be sweet.
Bring the whole gang back, man.
Yeah.
Come on. That's so great. All right.
I wish Kiefer didn't die, because he would have been awesome. They could always do like a retelling too, right? Like just a completely mythical
maybe
story. But
so what I'm curious about now, Paul, is your top 5 Emilio Estevez movies. This is our second list of the podcast. This is one I was really pumped about because I mean all of his early movies are so great.
Yeah,
it's kind of tough putting them in an order, but not really that tough.
No, it came out pretty easy.
I banged this one out real fast.
Same.
Yeah. I will say, I'm going to go first on this one, even though I said I'm really curious about yours.
I know. Well, I thought you were going to go first anyway, and then you said that. So I was myself.
Honorable mention for me is his tiny appearance in Mission Impossible. It was sort of good to see him back. You know what I mean? Because he'd been not really in anything for a while. And then all of a sudden he just was in a Mission Impossible movie for a couple seconds, and it was cool. I was pumped to see him there. So number 5 for me is one of the funnier movies and one of the lesser known movies of all time, and it's Loaded Weapon 1. It's a spoof on the Lethal Weapon series starring him and Sam Jackson, and it's so funny. Every twist and turn, every time something happens, there's something funny that happens.
And there's other jokes. There are jokes within the jokes, like happening in the background. It's just so well written and designed. And
the delivery, his delivery and Samuel L. Jackson's deliveries. They're so serious, even though it's absolute ridiculousness. Like what's going on in the
I might watch that today just because I got excited.
If you want to laugh, if you like silly, watch that. Number 4 was a really sneaky, funny movie. Growing up, I watched it all the time. I had it on VHS along with a bunch of other movies in a row that I would just watch.
We
over.
Had it on VHS.
Sorry, Goose. Number 4 is Men at Work. Funny movie. Him and his brother Charlie Sheen are garbage collectors, and it's funny. I think they find a dead body, if I remember correctly.
Yeah,
and it's hilarious. It's a funny movie.
Number the Nasty.
The Nasty is so gross. I'm gonna throw up just thinking about it. Imagine the smell. It'd be like you ever go into like a porta potty and like you want to,
but amplify that like by 80. You know, like
it by like
yeah.
Because I have 2 kids. One of them is still in diapers, and so like I already know what I contribute to trash, and it's like bad. Imagine that times like 50. It's so gross. Number 3 for me is the original Young Guns, because it was awesome. And you're not going to agree with me, but number 2 is Young Guns 2.
Okay.
The number 1 film for me is The Breakfast Club.
I knew you were going to go that.
Breakfast Club is one of my favorite movies. Each one of those actors who were so young and were not really known for their dramatic roles at the time, just nailed every emotion in that movie. It was really well done and well acted, and it's still one of my favorite movies of all time.
Absolutely. Your list is good. We're actually pretty aligned. You had one just damning error, which is why I'm going to win the list, and I know the fans are going to agree with me on this one. So we're literally on the same page. 5, Loaded Weapon. Number 4, Men at Work. Again, like I love those films. Number 3, I put Breakfast Club, only because these other 2 films they had multiple films. So my number 2 is of course Gordon Bombay and Mighty Ducks. How you left Mighty Ducks off your list, Pete, is blasphemy.
Only Jake Fensky, our very own Jake Fensky, is going to agree with you. Everyone else is going to say,
what are you talking about? People love Mighty Ducks. Like quack, quack, Pete. I mean, get on board. And then I didn't separate Young Guns only because, like I said, because
you're a slashing.
Well, but it's to me, it's the same role. So it's multiple, but Young Guns is number 1, obviously.
It's different movies, like
because it's probably Young Guns 2 is probably my favorite Western, and that along with Tombstone. So Young Guns 2 is my favorite all-time Western, probably the one I like the most. I mean, Tombstone is the better like film, better script.
Tombstone's so good.
Yeah. You're not getting. I mean, I'm splitting hairs here, which I like more. I think I just love Young Guns 2. I just love Billy the Kid character, I think, more, which is why I'm like slightly more. But Tombstone, it's like, I mean, they're both great. I'm splitting hairs here, and then obviously Unforgiven is up there. The Searchers. I mean, again, that's a whole nother. That's what we should have done. Best Westerns on this.
We got to do Tombstone, man. Well, and Young Guns too.
Yeah, we're gonna do that. We'll do Westerns.
Can we just do that right now? Just do it impromptu. We just talk about those movies.
Yeah. But yeah, so that was a fun list because, like I said,
I love that. And it's very nostalgic too for me to go through Emilio Estevez movies and think about him. I mean, I have so many memories.
Yeah,
watching his movies, and especially with you. I mean, we watched these, except for Breakfast Club. Breakfast Club was more personal to me. But all
we watched it together 1,000 times too. I mean, literally all these films I've seen like probably 1,000 times combined.
I think Breakfast Club was one of the first movies where there was like a lot of cursing in it too. Like, it was like, should we be watching this? And
we had the TV version too.
Yeah.
What the other thing?
Flip you.
Honorable mention, and I've only seen it like once, so I don't have a great memory of it. But I think it's called X. He directed it, and it was him and Charlie Sheen again in it. And it had been a while since he had acted, I believe. And then he did this film, and it's about 2 brothers, and I think it's in the porn industry. I don't remember correctly, but it was a good film. And he directed that was just like his first directorial debut. So I want to give a shout out to that film because again, I'm a big Emilio Estevez fan. So looking forward to the new one. So now we'll move to our movie reviews. Let me quickly talk about Cha Cha Real Smooth, which came out again on Apple Plus Friday, June 17th.
Mm-hmm.
And this film, like I mentioned before, won the jury award at Sundance in 2022. It stars Cooper Wraith, Dakota Johnson, who also produced this film, and who else is in it? Oh, Brad Garrett is in this as well, and Leslie Mann. And so Brad Garrett, completely serious role. There's no humor in his role at all, and on purpose, obviously. And he did a great job. Leslie Mann does an excellent job as well. But it's
she's good.
I really enjoyed this movie, and let me tell you, to watch a film at 12 o'clock at night and to be engaged in it, I didn't expect to kind of watch the whole thing. I was just trying to kind of get through it so I can finish it in the morning. But Cooper Wraith wrote and directed it as well, and he's just an interesting character. And it's one of these, I think obviously the critics love this film, but I think it's one of the films like pay attention to come award season, because I think this film is going to hit a lot of this. Just reminds me of like kind of Manchester by the Sea and Coda. Even it's these real kind of, human stories, heartfelt stories that are also just well crafted, and it stays entertaining throughout. And then it's got a solid emotional side to it. Really kind of delves into relationship and kind of coming of age and kind of figuring out what you're going to do, and then kind of it's just a super interesting film, and I recommend it. I highly recommend watching it again on Apple Plus. What are you laughing at?
It's just funny how you're talking all serious about a movie dressed up as Buzz,
right? This is where we differ from the other podcast, Pete.
It's hard to even like listen to your seriousness about early Oscar contenders.
Yeah, right. That's how we roll.
All right, well, that's good. We'll check that out, Paul.
Yeah, check it out. Highly recommend. Paul E. Stamp of approval on that film.
All right, the next film that we're going to review just dropped on Netflix. It just came out yesterday, no?
Yeah, same. That came out yesterday.
June 17th is yesterday.
Yeah.
Spiderhead. Spiderhead, man. This is directed by Joseph Kosinski, who just is crushing right now with Top Gun Maverick. But he also did Only the Brave. He did Oblivion, which was a sneaky good Tom Cruise film as well. Starring, as Paul said earlier in the podcast, starring Chris Hemsworth and Miles Turner. This was an interesting film, and I didn't read the short story. I have no knowledge of it at all. Same. So Spiderhead is a research facility experimenting the effects of emotion-altering drugs. The test subjects, like Miles Teller, are technically prisoners of the state. They volunteer for a project aiming to reduce their sentence time by allowing themselves to be sort of connected to like devices on their backs, where Chris Hemsworth and his assistant can sort of like increase or decrease the levels of different types of drugs and try to then get those approved and sent out to the masses. That's the idea behind it. But we soon find out that there are other motives afoot with our Chris Hemsworth character. We shouldn't really give a lot away.
No.
We should really give people an opportunity to see this film because it is a good watch. I will say a couple of things about Chris Hemsworth that I noticed in this film that really kind of made me appreciate him more as an actor. Like, he's great in Thor. He's amazing in Thor.
He's perfect.
I mean, let's get that right.
Perfect Thor.
But he does something with his eyes throughout the movie. I don't know if you noticed it, but like the way he looks at the characters when he's talking to them, it's really engaging, and it's almost sort of hypnotic in a way.
Yeah.
He really does kind of pull you in and gives you all like different levels of emotion with and intent. Like, you could see the intent in his eyes, even though the rest of his face is playing this very happy, like, I'll do anything for you, prisoners, and I'm making your life perfect here. But meanwhile, his eyes are completely playing a different role. And I thought he really did an amazing job.
Yeah, I have two takes on this film. One, I didn't see a trailer or anything. I knew nothing of it. I just knew, Kosinski directing this, Miles Teller, Chris Hemsworth. I thought this was going to be more of an action film. So in a way, there was maybe some slight disappointment because I was thinking with those three kind of in a more action thriller type, like that's what I thought I was watching at 10 o'clock on a Friday night. But so I had different expectations going in. Once that I got rid of those feelings, then I thought the story was interesting. And again, Miles Teller, I'm just a big fan. So I was in it for a little bit in terms of kind of seeing where it's going. I wasn't super, I would say, highly engaged and then all of a sudden the movie kind of starts getting into some of the flashbacks and all that. And for me, then it got more engaging and became really good. And you start seeing some of the emotion and just some of these decisions that everybody has to make involved in it. And then ultimately, yeah, I would say I liked it. I still feel like I had a different story in my head that I would have enjoyed seeing more, but that doesn't mean, like I said, I think people should see it. My comp for this, Pete, and I think this is a pretty good comp. And the film is called The Island, directed by Michael Bay. To me, it had a very similar vibe. I like The Island more only because Michael Bay is just more stylistic and the music I liked more. I think that's where this film I think could have maybe. I like Joseph Trapanese. He did Only the Brave soundtrack as well, so I like his work. I felt like he could have maybe imposed himself a little bit more on this to kind of get through. I don't think the soundtrack is bad by any stretch of imagination. I think it's solid, but I just wanted a little bit elevated more. But yeah, go see it ultimately.
Go see it and try to get through the scene with the really disgusting looking woman. Oh, that was tough. Yeah. Another one of those moments.
Yeah.
Before we get to our next list, Paul, there's just one thing that you just watched for in this movie that I thought was excellent, and that was the banter between Hemsworth and his assistant. I think his assistant's name is Mark. Just the way they play off of each other, it's really well done.
Yeah,
I enjoyed their little relationship there.
Awesome. All right, Pete. Now it's time for the main event. Lightyear, Disney and Pixar's latest venture.
We got to do our top 5 Miles Teller movies.
Oh yeah, I forgot we added that. All right, I'll go first. We'll just really quickly. We're running out of time. So, top 5 Miles Teller films. And let me tell you, he's really hitting another level with his roles, and Hollywood's definitely taking notice, and he's crushing it. So my number 5 film for Miles Teller is War Dogs, and this was one of his first kind of major roles that I remember. I love War Dogs. That's Todd Phillips directed that one. Bradley Cooper was involved, and a really good film with Jonah Hill.
Yeah.
Number 4 is his new series, which is about the making of The Godfather, and he's Albert Cruddy, and that's the Albert Ruddy,
not Cruddy. Cruddy is
what a terrible.
Cruddy is the unedited version of this podcast.
Yeah, right. Yeah, Albert Ruddy, based on the experience of Albert Ruddy. But that series is super awesome. I mean, it's just a behind the scenes of the make Godfather. I mean, what else do you want in life? So he's excellent in that. Number 3 is probably his best role, pure acting, and that's Whiplash. Excellent film. A very tough watch in terms of like
tough watch.
Well, tough because it's tough watch. I mean, like it's so intense. It's so intense that it's
okay.
Like it's hard because it's like you definitely, it makes you feel, and which is why it was nominated for an Oscar. Actually won, didn't it? Win Best Picture?
I don't know if it won Best Picture, but
excellent film though. If you haven't seen Whiplash, check out Whiplash. And then my number 2, only because he just looked amazing in it, is Top Gun Maverick. The scene where he walks in and you're just like, holy shit, that's Goose's son right there. Like, he just embodied it. And so this was a little more of a nostalgia pick, but I still thought he was excellent in it in terms of acting, the physical condition that he was in. Like, all the other actors were impressed because they thought he was more of a method actor. Yep. But he again, the physical component as well. It was just, and I just love the film, obviously Top Gun Maverick. That's why that's number 2. And then number 1 is there's just a scene that gets me every single time, and it's Only the Brave. But the reason why I put that number 1 is what he mentally kind of had to put himself to be this role. And it's a different kind of role from him, especially when you see him in Top Gun Maverick, and then you see him in this role where he's, more of he's a drug addict, and really a guy that hasn't figured out his life, and then he joins the most intense profession. And so
that's right.
Only the Brave is just such an excellent film, which is what got me on the Joseph Kosinski bandwagon, and well, I'll probably stay on it.
That's right. We have the same 5, just in a different order. War Dogs 5, Only the Brave 4.
Wow.
Only because I only saw it once, but I remember being very impressed and loving it. I just never really got around to seeing it again because there's always 97 movies to watch every week.
For sure.
Number 3, I put Maverick, just because of the same reasons you did. He looked like Goose, and he just played that character really well. Number 2, I put The Offer because I'm almost done with this series, and he's just incredible in it. The number 1 movie, his number 1 role, and it's just indisputable, is Whiplash. Whiplash is one of the best movies that I've ever seen. Like, for me,
it's excellent.
It's if you haven't seen this movie, I really, really recommend you go and seeing it right now. It's like Dead Poet Society on steroids. It's like, it's really an intense movie, as Paul was saying,
for sure.
And it's one of the more, like, from start to finish, the opening scene, understanding who the 2 main characters are within the first couple of minutes, getting a sense of that, and then the use of color throughout the movie is really quite extraordinary. And go see it. Whiplash, number 1.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just like you're saying, it's just preference in terms of we had the same list, obviously.
Same list.
Preference. The only honorable mention, Project X, which is his first role, major role. Excellent film that actually took place locally here in the neighborhood. John Bear Cardiel claims that he may or may not have been at that party. There's some dispute there, but Project X, that one's a good one. And there's another one I left off that I wanted, but yeah. All right, let's move forward since we're running out a little on time here.
And now the moment you've all been waiting for.
Bing.
Our review of the recently released Pixar movie Lightyear. This was exciting for me. Huge Toy Story fan. As you know, I'm a huge animation guy. That's my job. And so loving all 4 Toy Story movies and how influential the first one was to my industry it was just very exciting. And it was a great idea to make a sort of, it's a prequel. However, it's
more of like an origin story.
Yeah. Like the true story of why there is an actual toy called Buzz Lightyear. And this is the story that sort of happens. This was directed by Angus MacLane, who you may not know a lot about, but he has been in Disney forever. I mean, this guy from Pixar, excuse me, from Inception. I think he started as an animator on A Bug's Life and just started working his way. I'm looking right now, like when he first directed something, he co-directed Finding Dory. I think that might have been his first one. But he knows Pixar, and and you can tell right away with this movie that that he was kind of the right guy for the job. And it stars Chris Evans as Buzz and not Tim Allen, which I always thought was kind of odd, but he killed it. Chris Evans crushed it. Like he did such a great job.
Yeah, I thought so too. He actually kind of sounds like Tim Allen.
Yeah, but I read that
I thought casting wise it was perfect. And you know, I don't want to hype this story up too much because I think it's kind of a garbage story, but you know, some people, because Tim Allen got in a little bit of hot water with comments and stuff, and so some were saying like, oh, they casted it, they removed him because of that, but the filmmakers were like, no, we were never looking at Tim Allen. You know, this is a different character, and we want a younger character to match, you know, this new, because there's probably going to be multiple films of this. So yeah, I think there's much ado about nothing. I don't think, again, I think this had nothing to do with Tim Allen versus this is a different character.
No, what I read was that the performance that they interpreted Tim Allen's performance as Buzz as a little bit dopier, because it's a toy at the end of the day. This is like a real person. This is a real story. So you have to. I totally agree with the casting.
I think we're saying the same thing, just different.
Yeah. But when you go and see this movie, there's something that popped out to me right away, and that was just how beautiful the texturing was, and the way it was lit. I mean, look at this. I mean, that's animated, but look at the realness of like the metal and the rocks and even like the ignition from a lot of the. I mean, it's just a gorgeous looking film.
And the camera angles. I mean, that's one of the things I'm noticing more with the new age of animation is obviously the rendering and lighting is next level, but the camera angles now are more mirroring live action films where, you know, your rack focusing, your what's you know, the composition, the movement of the camera within the movie is it's excellent filmmaking when it comes to these. And you know, for me, ultimately I enjoyed this film. I'm probably not as high on it as you are, but it doesn't mean I didn't like it. It's just I'm not a huge animation guy, even though I worked in the industry myself. I'm a live action guy. I just love live action. So that's probably my only thing why it's not high up. But I think, you know, what this film felt different because it was almost like watching an action film. Like you're watching just a legitimate animated action film. It's not, you know, it's a different tonality than Toy Story, which was great. It's felt kind of like a Star Wars or, you know, what would be another comp? I felt like I was kind of watching like a Star Wars film in a way. And it was entertaining. Actually, the story I thought was really well written.
Funny.
Yeah, it had some humorous points to it. I wouldn't call the script funny, but I would say there's humorous.
No, funny characters, like
but there was emotion attached to it too. And you know, the character of Buzz, I think was really well crafted. And again, Chris Evans, I thought voiced it excellent. He definitely captured the tonality and the you know, boldness that you want from this character. And so yeah, I definitely recommend everybody check it out. I think, you know, your kids are going to like this too. I think this film's going to have a lot of legs to it. It's should do really well. I believe it's projected 125, I think, this weekend. So right on par, I think, is with Jurassic World Dominion just did. So it should be on par with that. It's not going to be as excellent as Top Gun, but you know, look, not everybody can. But if you want my rankings of like the last few films that came out, I mean, Top Gun obviously is number one. I would probably put this. I'd put Hustle number two. I would put Cha Cha Real Smooth number three, and I'd probably put Lightyear number four. Now, obviously, I think most people would put Lightyear number 2 or 3, but that's probably my order.
Yeah, it was really great. So, yeah, so basically,
So I know your number one's Crimes of the Future, Pete. What
yes. Crimes of the Future, senior year, and then Toy Story, Buzz Lightyear. Yeah. Is my number 3 for sure.
What would you, out of all the last month of films you've seen, where would you rank Lightyear?
This was the one I enjoyed the most out of all of them so far. I mean, I really, really enjoyed this film. I love the way that it gets started right away. It's just, they set it up with this was a story about the toy from Andy's room or something like that. It starts off with that one little line of text, and then it gets right into the story. They get marooned.
I think I missed like the first minute of it, so I missed that part.
Yeah, they get marooned on this planet, and their hyperspeed cells, they have to like replace those, and
a lot of crossover of Star Wars terms.
Yeah,
I don't know if you noticed that.
He's a test pilot. He's the one trying to use all these different versions of fuel cells or hyper cells or whatever they were, to try and loop around this sun in this universe in order to get back. But each time he does it, he loses years. So if it's like a minute for him, it's like 5 years for the people on Earth. But he does it so many times that he ends up like his pal.
Yeah. That part kind of reminded me of Interstellar a little bit. I mean, obviously Interstellar is just a different beast. So that's why I didn't necessarily use that as a comp, but there's definitely some thematic elements of Interstellar, again, mixed in with kind of a Star Wars film of this. So again, very interesting story and film, and there'll most likely be a sequel, I would imagine. And I would definitely check it out again.
Yeah, because I'm going to go see it with my daughter probably real soon, because I want her to see it because she loves Toy Story.
Let me know.
Watch it again because, all right. But there was one aspect of the film, and if you don't want to know what happens in the film, just turn this off right now.
Spoiler.
But I have to talk about it. And it was the fact that the Zorg, the bad guy, was himself.
Right.
And I don't know. I want to watch it again, because I remember just being kind of taken aback by it a little bit, like not really agreeing with that way of telling that. I mean, because we've known that character as his nemesis in the Toy Story movies, and then it just seemed like it's himself, and he's got to fight his older self. And I don't know. I'll watch it again, and I'll give you guys a new take later on. But I don't know.
I was fine with it. I don't have any baggage to Toy Story. I don't really have any baggage to the Toy Story side of it. So for me, I had no issues with it, but I could see somebody in the toy store, fanatics, maybe not, like you're saying, agreeing with that choice. But for me, in this story, I thought it worked, because I don't think it affects the Toy Story aspect of it. I think it's irrelevant, to be honest.
I just felt it was a little too easy. It was like almost like an easy solve. Like, who should we make it? You almost don't even need to reveal like who's under the mask. You know what I mean?
Because then there wouldn't have been. Then it's empty, because you're talking about a villain, Pete, antagonist, protagonist. You wouldn't. They would have no motivation if he's not, and there's no other characters that have been established. So I think it works.
Like I said, I got to watch it again, and
I thought it worked.
Take on it, but
I thought it worked.
Okay.
And Bob, Pete, I'm wearing the costume, so whatever I say,
you're the master.
You have to take me seriously when I say statements.
But I will highly recommend this film, not just for people with kids. I think it's a good watch. It's a good 90 to 100 minutes of fun and excitement, and it's visually stunning. I recommend it. 2 thumbs up for Peter.
Yeah, same here. I recommend it. Obviously, I don't have kids, so I enjoyed it, and I thought it was a good watch. And I'll probably check it out again just because I can, Pete.
Yeah, because you don't have kids. You got all this free time, you bastard.
Yeah, free time. I don't do anything now. So, all right. Well, that will pretty much wrap us up. I do want to mention a few of the upcoming films coming out that we will be reviewing, because that's what we do. Like I mentioned, our Next classic review will be Indiana Jones, and that'll come out next week. Yeah, Raiders of the Lost Ark. And then the movies that are going to be coming out next, Elvis and the Black Phone come out the week of June 24th. So we'll be reviewing those. Again, this is not including streaming, guys. We'll update the streaming as we get more information on that. July 1st is Minions: The Rise of Gru. I will need to catch up because I don't even think I've seen Despicable Me yet. So I've got some homework to do. I know. I told you I don't watch animation films. What else is there? Thor: Love of Thunder, July 8th. Obviously, that'll be a big one we're seeing. July 15th, Where the Crawdads Sing. That one is getting a lot of hype. And there's also, obviously, Pete's big film, Paws of Fury. So we'll have a big July 15th. And then Nope, July 22nd. And DC League of Super Pets, July 29th. And there's some other films in there.
Yeah, I don't know about that one.
Vengeance also. I got to do a little bit more research when it comes.
We got a lot of work to do.
It's the summer, so this is.
If you want to know what we have to say about every one of these upcoming films, make sure to subscribe, and you'll get notifications to our newest videos. And make sure to like and subscribe. Yeah,
and also comment below on your list. Again, top 5 Miles Teller films. Comment on your favorite Emilio Estevez role. You know, my brother left out Mighty Ducks, so I'm pretty sure you'll disagree with them. And then also Sandra Bullock films. We want to hear what your top 5 is on that as well. So thank you for joining us. Pete Dog, till next time. We'll see you at the movies.
All right.
Cut.
Bye.
Bye.